Everyone always wants to talk about the first Splatterhouse game when Halloween rolls around, that classic gore fest of a beat 'em up. Well, this year I'd rather talk about the Sega Genesis sequel from 1992, simply titled Splatterhouse 2. It's nothing groundbreaking, but at least slightly different. Possibly. Now, if you've played the first Splatterhouse, you've played Splatterhouse 2. There aren't really any big distinguishers between the two. Now, this is not a bad thing. The original game is a classic for a reason. But if you feel iffy about the first game, you're not going to like this one any better. You walk at a slow, kind of clumsy pace, smacking down ghouls and demons with your fists or a small selection of scarce weapons. Spoiler alert, going into the story a bit here and the ending of the first game. Now, shortly after the first game, the mask pieces itself back together and comes to you and tells you that you can get your lost love back. She can be rescued and she doesn't have to die. So you set out to get your Jennifer back from, as the game says, the house. Small trivia, in the Japanese version of the game, the intro instructs you to find the hidden house. The localization just says go back to the house. The one you fight through in this game is not the one from the first Splatterhouse, but a secondary mansion. Like I mentioned, the core gameplay has not changed between the two games. Slow pace, small selection of weapons, only a few hits of life, and lots of gory enemies to beat down. You can of course still punch, jump kick, or slide kick. It still has a lot of the faults that some people do not like, and it's still very difficult due to the small amount of hits you can take and the amount of enemies topped with your large scale and crawling pace. But it also still has that great horror fest charm that draws people in, and it's no slouch in the graphics and music. Small changes are the inclusion of a difficulty option and the password system, which helps make the game a little more accessible. You also have unlimited continues, so if you ever just felt like you'd never complete the original game, you'll likely have a much better chance here. With only 8 levels to go through and all of them being rather short, you just need a little persistence on normal difficulty. But another big downside, you can't bring the difficulty down, only up to difficult or game master. So if you're having a lot of trouble on normal, you're kind of out of luck. Now, despite some of the game's problems, have I mentioned that I think it feels slow and clumsy yet? The big sell of the game is the awesome gory atmosphere and classic horror movie motif. Splatterhouse 2 does a great job keeping that high standard from the original, and even more does a fantastic job of being much more on par, if not better, than the original arcade game. Plus, we don't get anything like purple masks, back to the classic white terror mask. Even with the things I don't like, I still find it to be a fun beat 'em up, and it is likely you might too, even if you push aside the original. There's something satisfactory about beating down a slimy demon with a pipe, plank, or shooting them with a shotgun. I suggest you give it a chance this Halloween if you never have. An original copy for the Genesis is pricey, about $60 in box, but you can get it off Wii Virtual Console. It's included in the Splatterhouse game for PS3 and Xbox 360, and of course, there are other means. Now go beat some demons in the pools of slime. I'll see you next time.